It started with a foreclosure. No cops, no missing persons alert, no frantic family report. Just a realtor, a drafty Victorian on the edge of town, and a cellar door that didn't match the blueprint. That was all it took to crack open one of the most disturbing serial murder cases in state history. Millhaven got the call on a Tuesday morning in March. The real estate agent, prepping the house for staging, found the padlocked door hidden behind a false wall in the basement. She called it a weird storage room with a weirder smell. Detective Elaine Hart arrived 45 minutes later. Veteran, mid-40s, no-nonsense demeanor hardened by years in special victims. She'd been planning to retire in the fall. That changed after the Cellar. From the outside, the Carver property looked forgotten but innocent, a dusty, vine-strangled relic of the 1890s. But the inside was preserved like a mausoleum. Table still set. Knitting left half-finished on the armrest. What really stood out were the dolls. Everywhere. Antique, Victorian, porcelain. On mantels, shelves, even hanging from the walls like trophies. Each immaculately dressed. In the basement the air changed, denser, colder. The padlocked door had been sealed with chain and nails. When they forced it open, the stench spilled out, mold, bleach, and the metallic sweetness of rot. The room behind it wasn't large. Concrete floor, unfinished walls. A single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. And beneath it, 4 wooden chairs in a row. 3 held large, pale dolls meticulously dressed but weathered. Their porcelain faces were cracked. Their glass eyes were missing. The 4th chair was empty. A false wall behind the display was quickly identified, fresh drywall over older stone. A sledgehammer revealed the real horror. Behind it, a climate-controlled chamber. Plastic sheeting on every surface. And a hospital bed. Lying atop it was the posed body of a young woman. Thin. Skin powdered. Mouth slightly open in what looked like a smile. Her fingers curled like a ballerina's. Her cause of death, dehydration. The 4-bag had run dry. The deceased was quickly identified through dental records as Lila Dunn, a young woman who'd disappeared 7 years prior. Her file had collected dust. A foster care runaway. Mental health history. No signs of foul play at the time. Another troubled teen. But this case forced investigators to look deeper. Detective Hart and her team combed through cold cases across the state. Over the next week, 3 other missing girls were linked by proximity to one man, Edmund Carver. Jessica Martin, 19. Disappeared on her way to a craft fair. Valeria Chin, 17. Last seen leaving a job interview at an antique store. Morgan Ellis, 22. A college dropout lost in the foster system years prior. All vanished without a trace. All vulnerable. All low priority, to a system overloaded and under-resourced. Edmund Carver was a name buried in property records. 62 years old. Former hospital orderly. Lived off disability and inheritance. Known collector of antique dolls and restoration supplies. No criminal record. But Hart saw the red flags. He worked in palliative care for nearly a decade. Took special interest in mortuary makeup. Held seminars at antique fairs on lifelike realism, in doll restoration. He wasn't just collecting. He was curating. Neighbors remembered him vaguely. Always wore gloves. Kept to himself. Talked to his dolls like they were real. A deeper search of his online activity revealed encrypted forums and private sales of handmade dolls, some disturbingly human in appearance. He referred to them by names that matched 3 of the missing girls. A nationwide alert was issued. Carver wasn't insane. He was meticulous. Controlled. Intelligent. Investigators theorized that he'd used hospital-grade sedatives to abduct and keep victims docile. He didn't torture them, he transformed them. Through embalming fluid, preservatives, and surgical tools, he perfected their appearance. Preserved them. In his mind, they weren't victims. They were part of a collection. 6 days after the search, Carver was spotted in a motel in rural Vermont, using a false ID. He didn't resist arrest. He didn't speak. In his room, a suitcase full of 4 bags, syringes, antique clothing, and a custom-made porcelain mask. When questioned, he offered one statement. "She's still perfect. Why would I ever let her go?" Hart returned to the house with a forensic sonar team. She couldn't shake the feeling, the 4th chair. The dust was disturbed. Something didn't add up. They scanned the floor beneath the basement. A shallow cavity. A sealed concrete vault. When they broke it open, they found a clear, glass coffin. Inside, a girl. Alive. Sedated, malnourished, clinging to life. Name, Angela Vasquez, reported missing at age 14. Believed to have run away from a group home. She'd been missing for 8 years. Carver had kept her hidden, sedated, fed through 4, spoken to her like a living doll. She'd been posed, dressed, displayed, and no one knew. Carver was charged with 4 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and multiple felony counts of unlawful confinement and abuse of a minor. He pleaded guilty, avoided a trial, received life without parole. He showed no emotion during sentencing. The media called him the Dollmaker. Angela survived, but she did not speak for months. When she finally did, she asked only one thing. "Can you take the dolls away?" Detective Hart didn't retire. Couldn't. She spent the next 2 years helping reclassify dozens of cold cases, pushing for systemic reform in how missing persons files are handled. But the one thing that stuck with her wasn't the trial, not the media frenzy. It was the chair. The 4th one. Still in the evidence locker. Still clean. Still waiting. It wasn't just a seat. It was a space. A symbol. For Hart, it represented the system's failure, and how close darkness can sit to the edge of normalcy without anyone noticing. She still visits the locker sometimes. Because the real horror isn't what Carver did. It's how long he got away with it. This is Crime Unscripted. If you found this story intriguing and important, please like and subscribe. We dig where others don't and bring the stories no one else dares to tell.